Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is December 14th of 2025. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a DEFCON level event in Washington, D.C. and or the greater national capital region on the date of December 14th of 2025, which is going to forever change the trajectory of the United States and the world. So, basically, the CIA is planning on staging a made-for-TV event that is going to result in the assassination of one Donald J. Trump, the spawning of a second global biological pandemic, the declaration of World War III, and or the transfer of America's capital in Washington, D.C. to Peterson Air Force Base at Colorado Springs, Colorado. Basically, the CIA, whose headquarters are in Geneva, Switzerland, is going to overthrow the U.S. government on the date of December 14th of 2025. And this is going to bring about the presidency of one J.D. Vance or the dictatorship of one Barack Hussein Obama. So this is going to be a major event in American history. Basically, the CIA has the Israeli Mossad and 25,000 Israeli Defense Forces troops, which were activated during Operation Breaking Dawn, are waiting in the wings to secure Washington, D.C. What I'm going to do in this video is basically outline the most likely scenarios, because as with everything that the CIA does, they have groomed and developed certain patsies, certain groups to take the blame for the attacks, which the Israeli Mossad, the Israeli Navy, the Israeli Defense Forces, the Israeli Air Force commit around the world. And their job is to basically to overthrow governments, to execute political assassinations, and to stage acts of terrorism and acts of war in order to basically get the or the nation states to basically to engage with each other in war, which they fund, of course, both sides. And this particular case is no different. Basically, they plan on staging some sort of an event where they can crack down on dissent in the United States, as well as start a war abroad. So basically, the CIA is planning on staging some sort of major event that is basically going to allow them to remove Trump from power, crack down on dissent locally, spawn a second global biological pandemic, and or trigger World War III. So it's basically a grand slam, if you will, which enables them to basically reassert their power in the United States and globally. So the most likely scenario is that the CIA stages a Russian airborne assault, a paratrooper assault targeting Washington, D.C. on the night of December 13th, early morning of December 14th, to basically lock down Washington, D.C. This will obviously be blamed on Russia, and this will begin the process of a NATO-Russo war, which will result in the dreaded mutually assured destruction scenario whereby Russia and the United States, exchange nuclear missiles. The following scenario was identified in the aftermath of the December 9th assassination of a British armed forces paratrooper in Ukraine, which was a blood sacrifice offered up to this impending attack. This is what the CIA has been planning with the operation of Operation Breaking Dawn, which was the activation of 25,000 Israeli Defense Forces who are likely in Washington, D.C. or in the national capital region. And so what they plan to do is, it could be CGI, it could be a deepfake or AI, but they plan on basically selling the notion that Russia and their Air Force has deployed thousands of paratroopers into Washington, D.C. And basically a coup d'etat, a Russian coup d'etat in the capital city, and that they have murdered Donald J. Trump. And then the war drums will begin to beat, and then we will obviously go to war. In reality, this is going to be a Israeli coup in the United States that will be blamed on Russia, and then take the United States to war with Russia so that they can use a war with Russia to destroy the United States, which is their biggest problem right now, because America has woken up to the Israeli control over the United States, and therefore they have to eliminate that. The other scenarios are also possible. I have published these scenarios, the ones I'm about to list. For many, it's been a snowball effect, if you will. The CIA has tried every single one of these scenarios over the last few years. So I'm just going to go briefly through them. So they could stage some sort of an Antifa-based attack targeting, and these are all going to be targeting the White House, the United States Capitol building, the Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C., and or the greater national capital region, which includes the Pentagon in Arlington, and of course CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, next door. So this could be an Antifa-based attack, a BLM or Black Panthers, a Groypers or Groyper Army-based attack, a Charlie Kirk revenge attack, possibly anti-Semitic in nature because he was killed by the Israeli Mossad, a Proud Boys attack, a active-duty United States Armed Forces or U.S. veteran-based attack, a No Kings protester or DNC mob-based riot attack, an attack by Palestine Action, which is the new Islamic terror group from Palestine that they've created to take the blame for Israeli Mossad attacks, a J.D. Vance-led coup d'etat, a Barack Obama-led coup d'etat, likely being flanked by the military, a George Soros-backed Blackwater coup d'etat, a neocon coup d'etat, an Iranian IRGC based coup or attack, an ISIS or Al-Qaeda coup or attack, a Saudi Arabian-backed coup or Qatari-backed coup, a George W. Bush-led coup d'etat against the Trump administration, Pakistani ISI-based attack coup, Ukraine revenge coup, a Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy-based attack in Washington, D.C., QAnon, Iran-backed Hamas, Iran-backed Hezbollah attack, a Venezuela attack or some sort of Russian sleeper cell related attack, a neo-Nazi, the Waffen Division, Storm Division base attack, a Palmia, which I mentioned, a U.S. veteran, or a Turning Point USA related attack in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Those are just, that's a majority of the ones that I have published over the last few years, but the one with the Russian paratrooper attack, which will be executed on the ground by the Israeli Armed Defense Forces, is the most likely scenario, and that is expected to transpire on the morning of December 14th of 2025, and this will obviously trigger martial law, and we will be subsequently put on a war footing, and then they will basically begin a dreaded World War III scenario escalation with Russia. What's imperative to note here is that this is Geneva, Switzerland, using their, because Israel, the reason Israel is shaped in a knife, in the shape of a knife, it's a shiv. This is where we get the god of Shiva from, is because it's used by Switzerland to basically stab America in the heart. It's not only America, but the Israeli Navy, Israeli Air Force, like I said, Israeli Mossad, they are used around the world to assassinate heads of state, to blow people up, to commit acts of terrorism, to commit acts of war. And then we, the United States, or other countries get involved because of these false flags that they commit. And apparently they're going to commit a major event in Washington, D.C. on December 14th. Coincidentally, the night of December 13th marks exactly 17 days since the CIA assassinated, or one of them is still alive, but they assassinated or tried to assassinate these two National Guard members in Washington, D.C. in a park just outside the White House. And so this appears to be the staging ground location. If you're unaware, there's multiple tunnels throughout Washington, D.C., under the White House, under the Capitol building. And so this location is likely where a tunnel can come up. And so this is likely going to be a staging area with this park now sealed off. This is likely a staging area whereby these 25,000 Israeli defense forces can come in and basically run up and secure the White House and lay siege to the White House and the U.S. Capitol building. So something is going on with this. Obviously, the number 17 equates to the letter Q, as in coup d'etat, and because the CIA, via her Israeli Mossad and her Israeli counterparts, military, is about to stage a coup in Washington, D.C. on the day of December 14th of 2025. Obviously, if that happens, I would kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.